and gives you a countdown. I can look at the clock there, know how long we've been talking. All right, we're live. We're joined this hour by Sammy Carrera. I'm really, really, really excited. He is a poet from Boyle Heights, an actor, and one of the kind of the real key figures of a really cool venue that used to be, or a really cool like organizing space. It's real cool, just really cool place that had poetry classes, all kinds of stuff like that. Real legendary spot in the history of Boyle Heights, Corazon del Pueblo. So I really want to talk about that. I want to talk about your poetry. I want to talk about some of the acting you're getting into. But first, before we get any of that, can you share us a poem?
For sure, man. Let's do it. We was raised in the slums where we hung with the bums and the thugs, and yeah, it was fun, but we heard lots of guns going off in the middle of the night. When we were young, we learned real quick how to fight, stuck between the path of what's wrong and what's right, confused the ghetto bird light with the aura of the moonlight. Now I'm guided by the stars when I cruise the boulevards, and I'm perfectly in tune when I roam the avenues, bumping my head to the neighborhood tunes. Rhinos getting loud in the back, OGs bumping oldies in the old school Cadillac. Millennial Pachuco suitors posted in front of the modern day monolithic monuments like liquor stores on the street corners. Wise men, wise like Aztec Mayan scientists in tune in to the city hymn, the natural vibration of city winds supporting birds in flight on a warm summer night. Red and blue lights flashing, passing me by. Another youngster just died, and yo, we had to say goodbye just a little too soon. That night was a full moon, the smell of gunpowder still loomed.
Yeah. All right, Sammy. So we met at Corazon del Pueblo. That was a real great seminal space. But before we get into any of that history, tell us a little bit about your own journey into writing poetry.
Yeah, most def. So I first started writing when I was a teenager, man. I was like maybe 14, 15, and it was at the time when I was incarcerated in juvenile hall, because of my upbringing or whatever, I had a hard time following orders and whatnot. So it got me incarcerated a few times. And it just someone, I can't remember exactly who prompted me to write my thoughts down, but the point is I started writing and I quickly learned that I was very passionate about it, that I was good at it, and it made me feel good. It made me feel a certain way that other stuff hadn't provoked that feeling within me. So I gravitated towards it, naturally, and I haven't stopped writing since I was about 15 years old, man.
Yeah. So about how old were you, and where has some of that writing taken you since then?
Damn. I've done I've been asked to feature at different venues, different poetry spots. But some of the places that I'm most proud about having performed at have been in the same juvenile lockup facilities that I was once in. So my proudest moments are having gone to Central Juvenile Hall. I was a keynote speaker there for their high school graduation maybe 1 or 2 years ago. And I shared some poetry. And I've been to numerous other facilities for youngsters, such as Phoenix House up in the Valley, Optimist Youth Homes, Rancho San Antonio. So those are the proudest ones I've been to.
Yeah. So I want to get into the history of this of Corazon, but before we do that, can you show us another poem?
Another poem?
Yeah.
The show, man. Let me see. This is one that I wrote while I was at Corazon and in the full thick of being a member, organizing, volunteering. And it's like this. Japanese and Yiddish whispers embedded deep in these historic streets. And to think thee now, Mexico now dominated borough was once a multicultural affluent community is inconceivable to most in this barrio. For the all too familiar sound of the gun bang has consumed all possibility of such ideas. And for certain folk, this gun bang is a symphonic tune they crave to play on the daily. But amidst this urban tune, the smell of enchiladas finds its way to me, and the trompeta sounds becomes free inside the souls of a hard-working class. Mariachis and loncheras smoothly decorate this landscape with street vendors sprinkled all over from corner to corner, simply just trying to survive because in this neighborhood, there is no option of a 9 to 5. Musical elegance resonates all through the alleyways and backyards of this neighborhood as the tune of life is being played on a Sunday morning by chiquillos with raspados in hand, accompanied by the voice of a doña trying to make a living for her family. So she shouts out with her soul, tamales y champurrado, I would like to welcome you all to a corner right next to a shop where they sell Tosti Locos and Diablitos, to a corner located east of the LA River, to a corner in Boyle Heights. You see, I was raised in the barrios isolated by freeway bridges, the same kind of bridges that determine the gangline boundaries. All the schools that I went to were poorly funded, so I'm undereducated, and I apologize if this flow does not fully express what I truly feel for. I'm not to blame. But I've always said, forget being proficient in the English language because I want to become literate in the language that only my heart understands. I communicate through divine melodies created by the reverb of my words nurtured inside the very depths of my soul. So when I hop up on the mic and I spit my flow, in essence, what I'm truly doing is offering you our words which reflect my soul.
All right. All right, man. I love it. I love it. All right. So let this, the moment of truth has arrived. So you could take, oh, Rose there. So the moment of truth has arrived. So can you tell us a little bit about, tell us about Corazon de Pueblo, but let's talk about Flowers of Fire as kind of the entry point.
Yeah, most def. So at the time I had just moved back to Boyle Heights. I was born in Boyle Heights, and then I moved out for a while, came back, and when I came back, I started rocking around the neighborhood. I was still in high school at the time, so I would pass by Corazon del Pueblo on my way to high school and on my way back home every day. And the imagery, the posters, I remember they had a shirt called where the logo on the shirt was "The borders didn't cross us." We didn't cross the borders crossed us. So it was just like this imagery and this like art that called my attention, that I was already kind of resonating with. And so that's what led me to go into the space. And I just started hanging around and attending the programming. And then they told me, hey, we have a Flowers of Fire poetry open mic night. And I was like, what? Man, I love writing. I love poetry, spoken word. And so that's how my involvement began, was just as a participant. I would sign up on the open mic list and do my poem, do my piece. And it grew out of that. Eventually, I hosted the open mic night a handful of times. I assisted with organizing the poetry events, confirming with featured poets like yourself, and a slew of many other poets out there. And so it was just a truly unique experience, man, that was really afforded to me by just this beautiful space, hole in the wall spot in the hood, in the barrio.
Yeah. So tell us about some of these fundraisers and events, and not just open mic, but the big events that we have.
Yeah. I mean, we had, man, a wide range of programming, from English classes to dance classes to poetry, creative writing workshop classes. We had fundraisers for our spot, because our space was a strictly grassroots organized space. So we didn't have this official 501c3 standing where we were submitting for grants and funding. It was just all like grassroots, like barrio style, like, hey, let's pass the hat around. We got to pay our bills, right? And so out of that came our fundraising wing of the space, right? Sorry, the comment threw me off. That's right, Gary Higgs. So we would always try to have our fundraisers. We had different fundraisers, musical fundraisers, where we would have some of the local community bands donate their music and their time to perform at our fundraisers. We would charge a donation at the door. It was we would ask for donations at the door, and that's what I think why people gravitated towards wanting to support us, was because we were like for the people, by the people, 100%. We weren't dependent on this like government funding or NGO, like all that blah blah BS. Sorry, Matt. Are you talking? I can't hear you. Muted.
I put myself on mute because sometimes a little feedback. Hey, so tell us a little bit about who are some of these bands that came through.
Oh man, there's too many to remember, man. I'll tell you, some of the folks that influenced me when I was still incarcerated as a youngster, that performed at a lot of our events, and it was truly like a thing for me, right? It was like I was like fanboying type of thing, right? Because you think about it, I was incarcerated as a youngster on probation, and and I was split. I was like kind of like at a split, at a fork in the road. Should I continue my desmadre type of stuff while I was listening to like this politically conscious underground hip hop, right? And so some of those artists were Olmeca. Sorry, Sammy. What do you think of the Netflix show Gentrified as a Brown Man? Do you feel represented? Okay, I'll definitely touch on that question in just a sec. So it was Olmeca. At the time, the mujer was going by See What Said. Now she's known as Chela, badass hip hop MCs right there. But there was Boya Pongo. Shit, man, La Chamba. Man, there's just too many. Like, you know what I'm saying? Zapoteca Roots. These are like cumbia tropical bands. We had I remember one time we had Maya Jupiter in the house, badass hip hop MC. Man, there's just too many to name. Really, El Boo. We had like little hip hop shows. I remember myself and a few others like Johnny Berrios. We organized the hip hop because we love the hip hop, right? So we had Bamboo, Filipino MC right there, man. One of the best West Coast hip hop MCs, really. Like, if you really want to talk hip hop, you know what I'm saying? He was in the house and he blessed us. He blessed our mics. And so those are just to name a few. But real quick, Angel Hernandez said, Sammy, what do you think of the Netflix show Gentrified as a brown man on ELA? Do you feel represented? There was some mixed feelings, but overall, I was happy with the show Gentrified. And then just to be a little official, right? There's a little difference between Boyle Heights and East LA. I know, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's all the same thing, right? And we kind of always get lumped up into one. But I'm from Boyle Heights, you know what I'm saying? And that means that we deal with LAPD harassment as opposed to in East LA, you deal with LA County Sheriff's harassment, right? And it's like it's like the whole municipal, like, zoning, whatever. We're still officially a part of the city of LA, whereas East LA is unincorporated county territory. But yeah, I like the show overall. I did have some critiques, which was mainly my question was, how did they contribute to the actual fight against gentrification, like on the actual, like, front lines, you know what I mean? The folks that were putting in work, you know what I'm saying, and protesting, right? So the representation was beautiful, you know what I'm saying? It was beautiful. Seeing brown faces, you know what I'm saying? And it was such a diverse cast too as well, man. That was so beautiful. So many different roles, man. So yeah, I'll stop.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, that's cool. So tell us, yeah. So tell us, okay. So we got the bands, we got some of this. You mentioned the programming. Can you talk a little bit more of the programming, the circles, and all the different things that were going on there?
Yeah, for sure, man. We had Nahuatl classes. I remember Professor Sandoval from ELAC, from East LA College. At the time he was at ELAC. I'm not sure where he's at now. He was, doing Nahuatl classes. I remember we had a women's circle, and I wish I knew the more precise history of the women's circle, but if I'm not mistaken, it was like it turned out to be like a real big, huge women's circle that went on to do, like, to just really grow and expand and just have a good, strong impact, positive impact amongst the mujeres in our community. We had the first men's circle in Boyle Heights, there at the center. We had dance classes, and I believe it or not, I volunteered to teach a dance class. There was a bachata and salsa, man. This was so many years ago that I was. I remember at the time I had just taken a class at ELAC, a dance class, and I had loved dancing salsa and just really all dance, cumbia, bachata, all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? Why don't we do a dance class? And they were like, what? You want to do that? Hell yeah, let's do it. So it was very it was very homegrown, and the space was always open to new ideas, suggestions from outside the community, right? Because it would defeat the purpose if, we wanted to kind of hold our space hostage and say, this is what we want and only what we want and nothing else. Like, nah, it was never like that. It was always open. We were always talking to the doñas, the folks that were just, would always walk by in front of our space. We'll welcome them into the space in the center and just start a conversation with them. And so we were really, connected with like everybody in our neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's beautiful. Can you also talk about? Okay, so tell us a little bit about some of the parties, because I remember a Corazon del Pueblo, party like a CDP party, because the CD party don't stop. You talk about some of those fandangos and those whatever that would last till 6 a.m.
Yeah, man. We were always like a hub. It felt like we were kind of like a go-to spot in Boyle Heights, right? So when folks were coming from out of town who were in the movement, right, of like social justice, it felt like our spot was like the destination, right? So we would host these folks that would come from out of town, like OC. I know the gente from Santana particularly. They were real big on the son jarocho and the fandango. So we would have like a little fundraiser maybe on a Saturday night, and officially, it would be over at 10, 11, but we would all just kind of hang out there and really just create this like sense of community, right? Where we're just, somebody take out a drum, start drumming it up, right? Some folks were in the back talking, politics, right? How we're gonna dismantle the system, right? While on the other side, there's folks spitting poetry. And it was just this very like organic vibe, right? That would just last till 3, 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And I remember though, we had I forget how many. We were celebrating our anniversary of having our doors open. I can't remember if it was like our fourth year anniversary or how many years. But we got in a spot on First and State Street, just down the street from our spot. And it was just this beautiful celebration where we had folks like Luis Rodriguez. We had some very prominent Chicano civil rights attorneys such as Antonio Rodriguez come through, and they were like our honorees. We presented them with little plaques and acknowledged their contribution to the community. And it was just this beautiful, huge celebration. I remember that evening, Boyapongo performed. I believe La Chamba performed. The homie from Culture Clash, Richard Montoya, was our MC. And so, we just had this huge support, right? Because we were doing solid work in the neighborhood.
Yeah. What about, can you tell us a little about some of the other hosts of Flowers of Fire? Can you tell us a little about the guy that goes by the name of the Bus Stop Prophet?
Oh, yeah. Bus Stop Prophet, man. I first met him at Corazon del Pueblo, and the name just like, what? Bus Stop Prophet? What is that? Like, you immediately want to think, you want to ask, like, where did that name come from? Like, it's just. And so after hearing about his inspiration, right, and how he started offering poetry was literally at the bus stops, like just spitting a piece, right, or he'll go into the buses and spit a piece and do a poem, and interacting with the guy. Good, solid individual, man. Very beautiful, like loving energy. His whole vibe, his whole aura just emanates, like this love and positivity, right, for his people, for his community. So he, along with, I believe it was you, right? If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all were like really credited with really developing Flowers of Fire into what it was, right? To like this like really like prominent like East Side Barrio open mic, and I think we had the longest run as well, like on the East Side for what was like 5 years, where we consistently had an open mic open, right? So he's definitely like credited to that as well, because of the connections that he had within the poetry community, along with you as well. You know what I'm saying? You definitely played a huge role in that as well. And so, and really him and as well as you were my poetry mentors, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all were like spitting it. Y'all had already been doing it for a while. We're in the poetry scene. And it's not so much something that I also wanted to be like, was kind of like this like nationally recognized slam poet. But it was just really more so like the craft, right? Like me kind of admiring you guys' ability for words, right? And the whole craft behind it, So thank you all, man. But yeah, Bus Stop Prophet, man, he's a solid individual who played a key role in like really formulating our Flowers of Fire programming.
Yeah. With Bus Stop, he was definitely the first host. I hosted a little bit, but like, I mean, in terms of just hosting and holding it down, it was definitely Bus Stop. I mean, like, I'm not one giving the false modesty or pretending like I didn't think it was. So, I helped a lot with the booking, for sure. I helped a lot with the booking, and I also like was always there to perform. But like, yeah. I mean, Bus Stop is really, really the guy. And then later on, Chapulín, but like, that fool's kind of a hater, so I don't want to give him too much credit.
Wait, what? Chapulín, what? That fool, what?
That fool's kind of a hater, so I don't want to like, I don't.
Oh shit!
Nah, he's cool. He did his thing too.
It wouldn't be a Barrio Boogie without one or two fools that are just, like on some hating shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but shout out to the homie Chapulín. I got love for him. You know what I mean? I don't know what may have transpired between yourself and him, but
no, I hate just like a lot of hating over the years, and I get like kind of like, why is people hating, So hate begets hate, like spread the love though, spread the love.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. We gotta be on the wavelength of love, man. You know what I'm saying, and operate out of love for sure, man.
Yeah. No, I'll get him on, and we'll probably just start hating on each other immediately. But, that'll be fun. So yeah, so Flowers of Fire. So now you've gone on to do some other things in the aftermath of this. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get back to like the Corazón del Pueblo still puts on events over there, and we'll talk about the people that are still involved. I know I don't know if you're still involved, but I know you know who is. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But like before we do that, talk about what you've been up to lately, man. You've been part of you've been honing up your acting chops.
Yeah, man. I was fortunate and blessed to be a part of Always Running the play, right? So based off of the book Always Running, written by Luis J. Rodriguez. So just across the street from Corazon, well, actually before they were across the street, this theater house in Boyle Heights called Casa 0101. Originally, they were right next door, like 2 doors down to Corazon del Pueblo. Give me one sec. Sorry, it's the neighbor baby. He's knocking on the door. He's trying to talk to my baby. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know about all this communication. You know what I'm saying? Like, chale, homie. But no, sorry.
Little baby needs to keep the social distancing.
He needs to social distance right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking for my daughter right now, man.
Baby distancing.
Yeah. But shit, I lost my train of thought. So the theater, they were two doors down from our space, and really at the beginning of Corazon del Pueblo, they were kind of particularly Josefina Lopez was very involved with our space and like the physical space and they had assisted us with some of the rent. Like right before it turned into Corazon del Pueblo, it was called Brooklyn and Boyle. So it's like definitely like a sister space in the name of arts, right, and social justice. I just kind of want to emphasize that. They put a casting call out for this play, right? And I'm friends with some of the folks online who are like producers and directors at the theater. And I saw the casting call for Always Running, and I was like, man, wow! Like, first of all, like it's beautiful that they're trying to like turn it into a play, and they're putting this together. And I thought to myself, my connection to the book, Always Running by Luis Rodriguez, and I first read the book when I was 14, 15 years old. I had just gotten released from juvenile hall, and I came across the book, and it made such a huge impact in my life, and it was placed in my life at the precise at the exact time that it needed to be in my life. So when I seen the casting call, I was like, man, I have to at least try, even if I'm like this background, like gangster, like doing like a little sidestep boogie, you know what I mean? Like at least something, just so I could be a part of like this beautiful production. And so, I turned out to be very lucky, man. I got a small role. Actually, I got a few small roles. We all played multiple roles, and I was a part of that. It was a very successful play. We were sold out the entire run, and originally it was scheduled to go on for like maybe like 1 or 2 months, but there was just so much like overwhelming demand for it that we had to extend our closing night twice. So it went on for like what, 4 months. Give me 1 second, man. I have to regulate these little neighbors. Hold on. Selena's busy, okay? She'll be out in just a second, okay? Okay, sorry, I have to close the door. Hey, these barrio kids are something else, you know what I'm saying? They're like persistent, banging on my door, you know? Yeah, so it turned out to be very, very successful to play, man. You know, I played, like I said, just it was a few small roles. You know, literally I was like a little background cholo, like, hey, what's up, homies? Like, let's go get these fucking enemies type of thing, you know? But it was such a beautiful experience, man. And you know, we would have Q&A sessions after our performances on Sundays with Luis Rodriguez. And that was probably like the more beautiful part of it, right? Is being able to be amongst such a leading force within our community, such as Luis Rodriguez, right? Being able to just kind of witness him, the way in which he communicates with folks, and you know, he's just he's a gem that we must protect within our community, you know, and he needs all the credit. So those Q&As were very important and very intimate that, you know, I was very blessed to be a part of.
Yeah. Hey, so like my memory is kind of foggy. Did they have you like in a wig? They had you like a long wig, right? At least
yeah, they did, man. Because back in the 70s, this is a play that took place in the late 60s, early 70s. There wasn't no bald-headed cholos, you know what I'm saying? So you there wasn't any bald-headed cholos, man. So they're like, hey, Sam, you gotta either you let it grow out, or bam, look at these wigs we got. You know what I'm saying? You choose. Yeah. So I'm real weird about my hair right now. I'm kind of letting it grow out just a little. It's still pretty short, but you know, I'm normally always bald. You know what I'm saying? I've always kind of cut my hair bald, and I wasn't trying to let it grow out. So I was like, all right, let me throw on one of these wigs. You know what I'm saying? Let me throw on one of these little wigs.
Yeah. So
man, jokes, all right, man. Hey, how did I look though, Matt? You know what I'm saying?
You look pretty fit, man. You look tough, man. You look like you were, you know, ready to like throw down, you know, in the 70s.
In the 70s. In the 90s, I would have what? They would have been like, hey, fool, what are you doing, fool? Comb your hair, fool.
In the 90s, you would have been a rocker, man. And
oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was some good shit, man. No, you did a great job. That was really cool. So, what was it like what was it like just for you in general to be part of a production?
It was a fascinating experience, man. Mad respect to any actors or actresses out there, man. Like, it's work, bro. It's mad intense work, dude. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, because we got extended multiple times, right? And so when we first agreed to do the play, everyone agreed to those first dates that they had originally put out. But some actors or actresses already they had already had, like, you know, like events planned beyond the play, and they were not able to continue with our extensions, right? Or they missed 1 or 2 you know, dates because of a conflict with other stuff that they've had planned way back. So they had to bring in like these temporary actors to just play that role for like maybe 2 shows or 3 shows. And bro, like throughout my whole time there, I only had like maybe like a handful of lines. You seen the play, bro? It took me like months to learn my goddamn lines, dude. And it's only like
the lines were like time to die. You were just standing there when it was like time to die.
All I had to do was fucking Mad Dog and be like, "What's up, fool? Time to die." And I couldn't even do that right, dude. It took me months, dude. I swear, bro. So mad props, mad respects to these dudes that would just, the homegirls and homeboys that would just parachute in and just drop in for 1 or 2 shows that had paragraphs worth of fucking lines that they fucking learned them. Like, I'm just was in awe and amazement. You know what I'm saying? It's a skill, it's a craft, and I had already appreciated them, but like this brought my level of appreciation to a whole nother like level. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's mad work, dude. So I learned that quickly, man, and just people, man. It's such a beautiful thing, man. Like, you know, we were all gathered there to do this play with with such a powerful social message. You know what I'm saying? So the folks that naturally are attracted to such productions are certain kind of people, you know, that you kind of one way or another, like you're aligned with, like, you know, either politically or socially, you know, you think along the same lines. So, man, I met so many great artists, so many great people within the acting community, man. It's just such a beautiful thing, man. It was an awesome experience.
Yeah. So here we go. We got a question in the audience. Says, this comes from Karina. She says, "You were great and always running. Hope to see you in new production soon. Anything coming up?"
For sure. During right before the whole pandemic, COVID-19, man, we had multiple things going on that were put on pause. So as soon as this all blows over, you know what I'm saying, whenever that happens, we're gonna definitely go back into organizing mode. And I was working on, so we had submitted to be a part of the Hollywood Fringe Festival, which within, I guess, the acting community is like it's a big thing. You know what I'm saying? So we had that going on, and it seems that we're still going to be a part of it. It's just, a question of the timing and the dates, due to COVID-19. Yeah. And then I was working on getting the play to Juvenile Hall. In fact, we were already organizing the stuff out. We had already met up with the administration multiple times. I'm fortunate to know a lot of the folks within the Central Juvenile Hall School Administration. I have connections, because of my past relationship with the Juvenile Hall, and I've kept in contact with these folks for many years. And so that's another thing that, that's not so much public, because our audience is only the youngsters that are in the facility. But yeah, no, we're definitely working on stuff, and there's going to be a lot to come after those two things. We decided to be a traveling ensemble. So the goal is to take the play to as many, college campuses as we can, and just travel with the play throughout the state and hopefully the country. That's the goal.
Mm. So when you do the Hollywood Fringe, whenever that's possible, are you going to step up your wig game?
Am I going to step up my wig game? I just ordered a
Hollywood Fringe, man.
I just ordered a special pristine wig, man. Top notch, top of the line.
I'm telling you, okay, look. Boyle Heights, Corazon del Pueblo. I mean, all these people, a lot of things have come out of that. You got Casa Cerro. I mean, you got like some of the best, most interesting art in the world coming out of Eastside in general, and Boyle Heights, has a place within there, right? But when it comes to wigs and shit, you go into Hollywood, man, that's their specialty. They specialize in costume and design and wigs and whatnot. And those wigs may work there. I mean, I don't know, man. You may have to, like, you talk about Hollywood Fringe, you may have to, you may have to fringe it up.
I have to step it up. I have to step up the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to get some real legitimate Hollywood style wigs.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. So you gotta like, you want to run with the big wigs,
right? You gotta roll with the big wigs. You gotta have a big wig on, homie.
That's right. You gotta have a big wig.
That's
all right. So Corazon del Pueblo, it still lives on in many projects, even though there's no physical space anymore. There's so many projects, so many things that go on. So can you tell us a little bit about what has Corazon del Pueblo done since closing its doors, but still as a group, as a collective, as an organization? What has it done over the years, and what is going to what are the continuing stuff?
Sure. We've from time to time put on Flowers of Fire open mic. I think our most recent one was at La Concha. which was a space organized and put together by the homegirls from the Ovarian Cycles. Excuse me. Yeah, we've done that, and we plan on continuing to do that. Flowers of Fire. We had a podcast we were working on. We had maybe like 2 or 3 episodes. Check us out. I think we're on all streaming platforms. Just type in Corazón del Pueblo for the podcast. You can hear us there. And we've been just available for just kind of things that come up, in the neighborhood, in the community, right? We kind of lend ourselves to supporting certain things that have happened. Like for instance, when we did have our space open, Boyle Heights, right? We have a lot of community violence, right? Or gang violence, aka gang violence. So we would always kind of see how we can assist, right, in responding, being an organization that responds to this violence, and touch base with the family and the community in general as to what are their needs in these desperate times, right? How can we assist? So we've done that also after our doors have closed, where we just kind of make connections with the neighborhood and families.
It's really, Boyle Heights is a very, there's a definite, there's definitely a shared kind of condition of like the different parts of the East Side. There's things that happen in Boyle Heights, that happen in City Terrace, that happen in East LA, happen in El Serrano, happen in Lincoln Heights. There's certain shared things, but there's certain specific, there's specifics to places too. And so when I look at Boyle Heights, man, I see a place where the police station looks like a museum, and the library looks like a jail.
Oh, man, right? Matt,
yeah,
you talking? You're right, man. Let's get the conversation going.
So tell us about that, man. Why the police station looks like a museum and the library looks like a jail? Like, where are the resources going in this community? I mean, what are the official, not what the people are doing, but what the official, the official officials, the people that run the money, what are they doing?
Yeah, it's always, they always want to look at, the crime rates, the numbers, the statistics, right? And there's an increase in violence in this neighborhood, so let's increase law enforcement funding, right? But when you look at those trends, you see that their funding has been, they've gotten other, budget approved since decades back, right? So if you really follow the trends, there should technically be a major decline in crime, right? As the funding for law enforcement goes up, the crime trend should also go down, right? So we know that that's not the solution, right? We know that law enforcement policing is not going to address the root causes of our social conditions in the neighborhood, right? So it's just a bunch of BS, man. It's just a bunch of like this backdoor politics, right? Especially when you look at a fool like Jose Huizar, which is what our council member. He was indicted. He was investigated by the FBI. Just crooked ass fools, man. It's just corruption, crooked politics. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the money. It's all about politics, re-elections, campaigning, and they don't give a damn about the neighborhood, right? This is evident as the comparison that you just made. What's up with our library? When is our library going to have a state-of-the-art facility? When are they going to redo our library? And you know what I'm saying? So it's just a bunch of like, that crooked politics, man, capitalism and campaigning. Who's going to be a bigger financial donor to my campaign for my re-election? And so it's like, what are we doing, right? How can we take control of these issues? What are we doing to address these social problems? And yeah, man. And that was, Corazón del Pueblo was a response to that, was in part a solution to those greater issues in our community.
Yeah. Can we hear some more poetry?
Yeah, man. Let's do it. Recently my poetry, in the beginning I was talking about the hood, and I still have my poems, right? But your boy is a reformed man, Matt Cedillo, you know what I'm saying? I went through therapy, and I have, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting in touch with my inner self, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. I feel like my poetry has now reflected like that process of like self-discovery all over again, you know what I'm saying? Because I went from like being a troublemaker, being in the hood, being out there, getting into jail, and I kind of became, politicized, right? And aware and conscious, so to speak. And so I feel like I'm kind of entering like an additional phase of that, where it's like really what's going on within me, within my emotional side. So that's kind of like the shift in my poetry. So let me grab my phone real quick. I haven't had this one memorized. Let's see what I got. What do I got up in here? All right, it's a little piece right here. My therapist said I live life like an animal. Defense mechanisms necessary for survival. Motherfucker, I'm detached, and I ain't ever coming back. At least not now. It ain't safe for the little boy within me who was forced to abandon his childhood innocence. I committed lots of crimes, but I swear upon my innocence. I only did what made most physiological sense. Resiliency embedded deep in my DNA because I was born in Boyle Heights and raised on the east side of LA. Generations of trauma within my family tree. Don't know how to break free due to years of conditioning. I was groomed to be doomed, but at 13, I laid my fears atop marijuana smoke plumes, hoping they would go away and disappear. Damn. It's a little, it's still, you know, I'm probably going to add more to it. But yeah, that's it, man. That's where I'm at, like within myself, you know, trying to continue to use poetry as a tool, right? Because really that's what it is for me, you know. It's a healthy outlet. And so the way I've used that tool is definitely developed and changed into like more therapeutic type of thing. It's always been therapeutic, right? But I feel like now it's a little bit more intimate, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's kind of funny. Like I always think about like Eminem, right? He's like writing about like his basically his therapy sessions or lack thereof. And it's always kind of funny to me that it's like always this white guy with like these psychological issues, as though like the rest of us don't have psychological issues. And it seems to be kind of like always the constant thing. Like people were supposed to like rap or write poems about like the streets were rough and violent, blah 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 blah, right? And then like then white people make music about like I have mommy issues or I have daddy issues, as though like we don't have moms and dads that we got issues with. You know what I mean? It's always
Right.
like, yeah, we're only supposed to like have like these like real compartmentalized lives and not talk about how like things that happened to us early on affected us, and you know like why we get mad or why we get sad or why we, you know, why we have these moments where we're living like two moments at once. You know what I mean? Like we're like in the middle of a conversation, but all of a sudden we're also like six, and like, you know, we see like, you know, dad's leaving, or you know we're 10, and we see like, you know, hey, you know, like how come you treating my sister that way? You never gave me anything special like that. Like what the fuck, you know? We're always like, you know, we're always feeling like these like weird little things that happen to us when we're kids in the moment as adults. You know what I mean? Like and we don't ever write that way because we're not supposed to. We're supposed to be like, yeah, get over it, you know, walk it off or some shit.
Yeah, toughen up, fucking be a man and shit, you know, like yeah.
So how is this new shift in writing? How is it affecting your output, and how you feeling about it?
I'm excited to continue exploring this different, you know, style of writing. Like I said, I'm trying to shift into a more like you know, I want to be more self-aware, right? I want to be more in tune with my feelings and my emotions, you know, because I learned that that was a root cause of a lot of the trouble that I got into when I was a kid, and not just like with the law, right? But shit, I've been clean. I've been clean and sober for 12 years, right? And so the whole addiction aspect of my story, of my life story, and my upbringing, it's all connected, you know, to my emotions and to my feelings. So I'm just trying to be more self-aware, man. I'm trying to be more conscious of some feelings that I've unsuccessfully dealt with for years, right? And because of the fact that I didn't know how to deal with them, it caused me to, it led me to these paths, right? To getting into trouble, wanting to get high and all that. You know, I was a youngster. I was like 11 or 12 years old, and the homies from the block called me Wino. That was my nickname. That was my hood nickname. Like, hey, what's up? Why no? I'll be like, what's cracking, homie? Like that was my nickname, right? And that was something that I was proud of. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like where I'm from. You don't, you earn these nicknames, and it was for a reason.
Wino.
Hey, bro, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So listen, if you come across somebody who has the nickname of crazy or psycho, like they fucking earned that shit. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful, dog. You know, so that was me. I was a little homie wino right there, you know. And so for a long time I was proud of that, you know what I'm saying? Because I could chug a 40 ounce as a youngster with no problem, you know, no hesitation and not want to puke or barf or whatever. Right. And so now I'm learning, I'm trying to connect it. You know, I'm trying to learn why did I feel proud? Why was I proud of that? And what was happening within my own life mentally and emotionally that led me to seek alcohol and other things, you know, to escape.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. That's good. You know, there's no way of because I was going to transition and ask you about other people, right? But like after a story about how you're like wino, it would make it seem like I was saying they were winos. You know? Well, all right. Tell us about, you know, no,
right.
but tell us about some of the other people that were really big in the history of Leon. I almost said the history of Leon. I wanted to ask about Leon, but I didn't want to make it sound like I was calling Leon a wino. All right. Can you tell us about the history of some of the other people that were really impactful in Corazon de Pueblo?
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about Leon, man. Leon Arellano, solid individual, born and raised in the neighborhood. Actually, he's from the projects, right here in Boyle Heights. He's currently, you know, involved with like legal work. I believe he's a legal investigator, right? And I just want to like really say like real quick, like man, we're so talented, right? With the poetry, with the dancing, with the music. Like in this neighborhood, man, we could be attorneys. I think he's currently in law school right now, if I'm not mistaken. He either recently passed like a major like the baby bar, as I think they refer to it as. Like we're straight like man, we're straight like badasses in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? But for so years we've been conditioned to believe otherwise, you know what I'm saying? Or so just a little quick little thing, but yeah, Leon, really solid dude, man. He's almost an attorney, if not he already probably passed his bar. He was a major person to really contribute to like the development. It was him, Ileana Ramirez, Paco Rodriguez. Man, I know I'm missing a few names. So it was a group of folks that decided to really kind of take over running this space when in that space. It was prior to being Corazon de Pueblo. It was a spot called Brooklyn and Boyle, ran by, shout out to the homie Abel Salas. It was ran by Abel Salas. Dope literary like newspaper magazine that he would put together, that touched on specific like Boyle Heights or East Side community like issues, right? El Sereno, Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights. And so, you know, for one reason or another, he was unable to kind of continue moving forward with the space. And so he kind of put a call out to the neighborhood and the community. And these folks that I named stepped up, right? They said, you know what, we believe in this space, right? We feel like we need a space in the community. And so they stepped up and they said, listen, we'll task ourselves with fundraising and paying the rent and organizing this space. So shout out to them. It was Leon, Paco, Ileana, Skyra Martinez. I can't forget her. I know I'm missing like, man. Sorry, man. My brain, my memory is not all that great. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they were huge, right? They were like the first, like like the founding members of the space, and they were the ones who kind of had that foresight to say, look, this is a space in the neighborhood. Like we need to occupy more space, right? This was before the Occupy movement, right? Like they already had this in them. Like we need to have like these brick and mortar spots open and available to our neighborhood where we can invite the community members in. And that's exactly what invited me in, right? Because I was, like I said, I was just walking across this, like in front of it for a few months before I walked in and before I was invited in. And so they had that foresight and they understood the need, right? And so big shout out to them.
Yeah. Well, man, it's been a real pleasure spending this time with you. So what's a good way to connect to you? That
Yeah,
for
man.
the viewers out there.
You can connect with me through Facebook, Sammy Quetzali. I'm more active on Instagram, so that's kind of like the preferred choice. It's at Sammy Quetzali altogether, SammyQuetzalli. But either or is good. You know what I'm saying? Either or is good.
Yeah. Well, Sammy, I really, really appreciate this, man, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Hey, Matt, thank you for having me, man. I really do appreciate this, man. And yeah, man, I look forward to talking to you soon, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wear my wig. I'm gonna take a photo of it. I'm gonna slide up in your DMs with me wearing my wig, fool.
Yeah, well, I need to get a haircut, man. I'm struggling out here. I'm like, I'm like
Hey.
twirling my hair shit. I'm doing like this Farrah Fawcett thing now. I'm like trying to like flatten that shit. I mean, like, I'm no one to talk. I'm just saying, like, like it was a switch. But like, if you so next time you see me, I'm all pelon. You're gonna make a comment about that. So you know what I mean? Like, I had to say something about them wigs, man.
Look, dog. You cut your hair, save your hair, and donate it to me so that I could fucking style my wig with. You know what I mean? I could make that shit look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, the mujer Karina, RC.
Yeah.
She put my handle. It's missing one L. Just to clarify that. So that's exactly the way she put it. Is good, but it's missing one L. Maybe I said it with one L accidentally, and that's kind of why she typed it up that way. I'm not sure, but on the Quetzali, it's two L's. LLI. Just to quick clarify that.
Wouldn't that be Quetzali?
Hey, there you go, dog. Hey, why are you trying to get technical with me, huh?
I'm telling you, man. Like you said, Quetzali. That's how you. If I had to spell Quetzali, that's how I would do it. So you said the way you're. Yeah.
Listen, you're applying these Eurocentric Greek fucking alphabet, homie. This is not what, dog. We taking it back, homie. Pre 1492, homie. It's Quetzali. Now what?
Yeah, Gonzalez, man. All right, you got it.
Hey, it's all love, man. Man, appreciate you, man, having this and hosting me, man. Appreciate it, brother.
I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Cool.